I'll never cry to a Frank Ocean song. Let's be honest. I am a man.
Why did Blonde get this reputation? I am the biggest Blonde glazer there is. I have listened to this album way too many times. I have watched every funny reaction and a lot of reviews. And yeah, it's the greatest album I've ever heard. I genuinely think it's a meticulously crafted masterpiece that, yes, does get praised as a great album from most music nerds, but it feels like most people just see it as that album you go to when you want to cry. And although it has those moments, it's not only a sad album. It's not a crow looked at me. Whenever I first listened to Blonde, I came out of it thinking that was beautiful, not that was depressing. That feels like such a shallow way to look at this album. But why do I defend this album so much? Why does it mean so much to me? Why is Blonde the greatest album of all time?
One of the coolest things about what I'm experiencing right now, as far as people responding to the songs I wrote and what I decided to do, is that it really is me. You know, it's so when people say they with it, it's like they with me.
Blonde dropped on August 20th, 2016. What was I doing this day? I have absolutely no clue. I was at recess, maybe? Yeah, you'd think my love for this album would mean I was there since day one, but no. I was still in elementary school and was probably bumping a mix of Adele, Bruno Mars, and Adam Levine. Whatever was on the radio, basically. Good times. I then went to middle school where everyone loved hip-hop, and even during the SoundCloud era of Lil Uzi, Yachty, Famous Dex, I would bump these rappers' entire discography. I would listen to their interviews, watch their videos, want to get into their fashion, while most people my age were just kind of bumping whatever the trending song was on SoundCloud. And that made me feel kind of weird until I got into X, who was as eclectic as a SoundCloud rapper can get. I low-key thought my taste was superior to everyone for like 2 years because my favorite artist was so unique. He can do so many genres and y'all only listen to Polo G, who does the same song over and over. But one day in 2020, I randomly got recommended a video by a YouTuber who was reacting to X. His name was Sean C. But he was shitting on my goat. He pretty much said this is baby's first eclectic artist, the most surface level fake deep trash ever. He actually didn't say that, but that's just how it felt. I was pretty mad at first, but honestly that wore off pretty quick because I was more curious than anything. So much of me was like, wait, there's a world of eclectic artists outside of X? Let me listen. So I watched a video of his called Top 100 Albums of the 2010s, and I tried some of them out. I listened to Twisted Fantasy and was like, I remember this song. I played T-Pab and I was bored, and then I tried this one album called Blonde. I played track 1 called Nikes, and immediately I hated it.
This nigga is trash.
Who the fuck is this Alvin the Chipmunk ass singing in my ear right now? No way this dude likes this garbage. I then played his #1 album of the decade, Atrocity Exhibition, and I was not ready for that. I was done. I just couldn't get down with this taste and eventually quit trying. This was early in December of 2020, but then Christmas came around. Every year I would get a new video game and bump music while playing. So the plan was to play Madden while listening to my playlist. But as I looked at my Instagram's For You page, I scrolled past a meme about how bad a Whole Lotta Red is, and I landed on some Instagram video that has a Frank Ocean song playing in the background. It sounded so incredible that I just had to play it, and the rest is history. That was legitimately the greatest Christmas of my life, and I be having peak Christmases, man. My whole family gets together and we have jolly times. If any of y'all are watching this, I'm sorry. If I had to choose between you and Blonde, I'm choosing Blonde. I would do anything to listen to Blonde for the first time again. It just feels like I was on another planet. I remember listening to Solo Reprise. I did not know who Andre 3000 was at the time, so I was like, hold up, who's doing this? He's spazzing. Godspeed felt like that final push. Every song had me all emotional and shit, and that song just shot the tears out of my eyes. I don't think I have the ability to cry anymore because I never do that, but yeah, that was the last song to ever make me cry. Pretty Sweet was so epic. It felt so cinematic, which honestly a lot of this album does. Now that I think about it, a lot of this album had a strong role in shaping my taste, which is part of why I love this album so much. There's nothing like the first time. Everyone has something they're passionate about in life, and the moment you realize you were in love with that thing is a special moment. It's hard to top. Blonde was the domino effect moment for me with art. I became an Odd Future superfan the next year. A year later, I was getting into film. Without Blonde, who knows how my taste would look like today. But despite all the art I've fallen in love with because of Blonde, not a single one touches the feeling Blonde gave me that Christmas. This album feels genuinely surreal, like a dream. It feels like if David Lynch made an art pop album. That's why my first few years with the album were carried solely by the sound. It just sounds so amazing. The song that I heard in that Instagram Instagram post was the end of Self-Control. I came into the song expecting that to be the best part, but I immediately forgot that part was even on the song about 15 seconds in. This is the best sounding song I've heard to this day. Nowadays, there's nothing that gets me more emotional than great vocals over an acoustic guitar, and I think that can be traced back to this song. There's like 8 different parts on this song that I just can't wait to hit every time I come back to it. Obviously, the acoustic guitar parts, for someone who didn't give a fuck about lyrics back then, this was a surprising amount of feelings I was getting from words coming out of Mr. Ocean's mouth. Cause you see me like a UFO. Then this dude who I've never heard outside of this song comes on and drops the greatest 15-second verse of all time. His voice is just like a soft little pillow in the middle of the song. Then there's that weird ass noise that may be a guitar, I don't know. I don't care. It plays with the strings in the background, and oh my god. The only flaw with this song is that there's so much little perfect moments that I just want every little part to be 10 times longer. Then of course, the part that is the whole reason this video even exists right now. The ending of the song. Okay, I can't get copyrighted, but you know how it goes. 10. And I'm sure someone's gonna be like, you're just biased, man. You just can't let go of that first experience. It's not actually the best album of all time. Crazy Frog better. Which is honestly something I used to always question. Every time I would come back to the album, I would be like, is it really the best? The best album ever? I would then play the album again, be really emotional by the end of the first song, and shut my dumb ass up. But if I had to be as objective as possible, is it really that good? Now having listened to it for nearly 5 years, I can say that it definitely is for me. And I think it should be up there for more people. Cause hot take, I guess, it's just as well put together as other albums that are commonly considered the best albums of all time. Like T-Pav or OK Computer. Cause I think the concept of Blonde is even more ambitious than those. And is honestly more relatable as well. Blonde is everything. It's about childhood and the transition into adulthood. How it becomes increasingly hard to connect with other people. It's about time passing too fast. Why isn't summer as long as it used to be? Falling in love. Heartbreak. It's about the two sides of life. Duality. The whole album is perfectly split in half by the beat switch of nights for a reason. Squeaky little kid voice and grown-up adult voice. You got the 2 different spellings of blonde, which is masculine and feminine. And he doesn't do this in a corny, like trying to relate to everyone by making a super vague concept way. He just writes down his experiences. And those experiences feel universal. This album literally feels like a 1-hour diary entry that went public on accident. At times I'm listening and I'm like, how the hell did this guy get famous? Usually when we hear mainstream artists get personal, they make sure to hold the audience's hand. Like, no shade to Tyler, because I love him too. But when he tells a story, he'll be like, I met this girl on a Thursday evening. She's dating a dude who sells Pokemon online, but now she's cheating with me. If you look at Frank's writing, it's like he's writing a ton of experiences that I can imagine are very dear to him. But he doesn't really explain it to us. Like, Ivy is a song about the first time he fell in love, but he doesn't ever say that explicitly. In an interview for the New York Times, he calls the writing for this album his version of a collage. He says, how we experience memory sometimes, it's not linear. We're not telling the stories to ourselves because we know the story. We're just seeing it in flashes overlaid. I think you can see that in a song like Pink Plus White, which by the way is one of the best vibes to a song ever. People who say Blonde is just depressing are definitely skipping this track. Honestly, what I envision when I listen to this song is that I am in a bird's POV flying throughout utopia. This dolphin perfect world meme, that's where I'm flying when I listen to this song. And it's absolutely perfect because this song to me is about the peak of life. Y'all know when life was peaking for me, as I talk about it often, elementary school. And everyone has a time in their lives where they feel strong emotions towards in that same way. Remember life? Remember how it was? Palm trees, Michael Jackson. He's stealing his granny cigs, holy shit. I don't think all these things are in the same time. I think he's just naming off a bunch of times in his life that are completely separate. A recalling of those few moments in life where things make sense. Fond memories told in a non-linear way. This man really doesn't care if anyone gets what he's talking about or not. Nobody fully gets this album but him. Matthew? Snoob? Who the hell is Danny? This song is so pretty, man. There are no music videos to this album, but Nathan Zed said one time that he has a music video in his head with all the memories he's made with each song, and I can relate, especially with a song like this. Not saying a word while I was scared in the roller coaster line, listening to this with Audrey, Ian, and Noah, telling Poppy I'm going home on the bus, but secretly going in Dobby's car, Jalen's TikTok post after I put her on. Peak life. And when you're at your peak, it's all downhill from here. Blonde is really sad sometimes. There's a strong shift between the first and second half. The first half has very positive moments like Pink Plus White, falling in love, summer, everything going great in my day. But then comes The Night. And the second half is more Andre 3000 is a sad boy, this dude who hates Facebook is a sad boy, and I think we all collectively are the saddest a boy could be when we listen to White Ferrari. Pink Plus White is probably my favorite happy song ever. This is my favorite sad song ever. It feels like nostalgia in the saddest way possible. Like I'm a grown adult looking back at old memories, wishing I could just do it all over again and fix everything. I'm sure we're taller in another dimension. I remember back in high school talking with Nico about this song and how I wanted to go back to middle school. This was around the same time we played all day when I was at Lolo's house. Not too long after I got myself a fake ass blonde vinyl after we left Fun Spot. If only I knew how much I would want to go back to high school 5 years later. It's songs like these that really make the album such an emotional roller coaster. You get to the end and you just feel full. You hear that Futura Free instrumental and you start reflecting. And despite the ending of this song being pretty much Frank as a kid hanging out with his friends, I can just sit anywhere while listening to it and it just becomes the soundtrack to my surroundings. It lets me really soak in the innate beauty of the experience that life is. Blonde is an album that I only listen to in full maybe once a year, if that, and Futura Free is usually the moment where I start to take a look at everything that has changed since I last listened. For my 16th birthday, my corny ass timed the night's beat switch perfectly so it hit at midnight. After prom, me and all my friends drove back home at 2 a.m. and sung our hearts out to a bunch of Frank Ocean songs. The Christmas tree lighting where I was emotionally numb listening to Siegfried. At its core, Blonde is just an album where this bisexual dude sings about random experiences in his life for an hour. But for some reason, we all feel it. Despite me not caring about the lyrics when I first got into the album, I still felt everything that I'm feeling now, even after I dug really deep into the album's concept. Despite the average person not caring about the incredible conceptual work on the album, it still is considered one of the best albums ever made. You could argue that this is because the album is so good sonically more than anything, but I don't know, man. In an album that has such strong things of the struggle to connect with other people, it feels like Frank's experiences connected with all of us, whether we fully realized it or not. The album feels like another planet, a dream. It really feels like a memory. In my senior year of high school, I was in this drawing class. I left like 2 weeks in, but there's this one thing that stays in my memory even in my short time there. On one of the first days, the teacher put a bunch of student drawings out. Everyone had to go to their favorite one and give it a new name. There was this one that was pretty much like this purple mess. It was literally just scribble scrabble with some pretty looking parts here and there. Only one girl picked this drawing, and when the teacher asked her what she named it, the girl said, Life. I name it Life because life looks like this. In my head, I thought this was the corniest shit I had ever heard. And yeah, I'm not gonna act like that's changed or anything. It still is a little corny. But I'm currently transitioning into adulthood. I am indeed a college student that goes to college. And I think about it often. I've thought about it so much that I embraced the cringe and made this little term called purple messy life art. Not a lot of art gets into the purple messy life art club for me because it's hard to be so universal without coming off like you're pandering. But to me, Frank Ocean's Blonde is the best of the best in that club. And without Blonde, I would never have listened to something like Mr. Morale or watched something like BoJack Horseman, Adaptation, Synecdoche, New York. But despite Blonde being the entry point for me in that way, I re-listened to it in preparation for this video and it genuinely has a case to be better than all those things. When I listen to Blonde, it makes me want to rename it. If I could rename it, I would rename it Life because life sounds like this.